Imagine this. You're deep in a prehistoric cave, the air thick with smoke from a tiny fire. Your stomach's been rumbling for days because food's been scarce. Then, right in front of you, something slithers across the dirt floor. Most of us today would freak out and run the other way. But what if you picked up a rock, struck fast, and turned that snake into your next meal? What on earth would push our ancient ancestors to not only face snakes but actually eat them? Stick with me, because this story might completely change how you see human survival. For thousands of years, snakes have been the stuff of nightmares. They show up in our stories as symbols of danger and the unknown, from the Bible all the way to modern movies. We still jump at the sight of one because that fear is wired deep into our brains. But back before grocery stores and takeout, our ancestors couldn't afford to be picky eaters. They turned these potential killers into actual dinners. And this isn't just some random survival story. It's a real look at how flexible and tough early humans were, and it tells us surprising things about our own minds that still matter today. Let's go back around 15,000 years to what is now northern Israel, near Mount Carmel. This was the time of the Natufian people, hunter-gatherers who were right on the cusp of huge changes in human life. The last ice age was wrapping up. The world was getting warmer. Plants and animals were shifting, and folks were starting to settle down in camps instead of roaming nonstop. At a site called El Wad Terrace, archaeologists dug up something wild, thousands of tiny snake and lizard bones mixed in with the leftovers of their everyday meals. These weren't just random animals that crawled in and died there. The bones have clear marks showing humans were processing them for food. Researchers from the University of Haifa studied the ancient bones next to modern reptile skeletons and figured out exactly how these people were preparing them. The evidence is clear. These folks were regularly eating snakes and lizards. And this might be the best proof we have that ancient humans didn't just fear snakes. They were putting them on the menu. Picture it. A small group is gathered around a fire as the sun goes down. The hills around them are full of life, but big game like deer and wild boar is getting harder to find as the seasons change. Snakes, though? They're all over the place, hiding in rocky spots and near water. Someone spots a viper or maybe a regular snake sliding through the grass. A quick strike with a stone tool or a sharp flint blade, and they've got dinner. No long chase after big animals that might escape. Just a steady, if risky, source of meat right there at their feet. But why snakes? In a world where every calorie could mean the difference between living and dying, reptiles had some real advantages. They're cold-blooded, so they don't waste energy keeping their body temperature up. That means more nutrition ends up in you when you eat them. Their meat is lean and full of protein, and in tough times, every single bite mattered. On top of that, during the Natufian period, people were starting to stay in one place longer. They were gathering wild grains, building stone structures, and basically laying the foundation for farming. With more people staying put, they needed to broaden what they ate. Snakes and lizards fit that need perfectly. This wasn't some last-ditch desperate move either. The huge number of bones shows it was a regular part of their diet. You can almost see the kids learning from their parents how to safely handle these creatures, which parts to avoid, and the best ways to cook them. It shows this deep, passed-down knowledge of the natural world. Our ancestors weren't just scraping by. They were really mastering their surroundings in ways that blow my mind. Now, let's jump across the ocean to another discovery that takes this even further. About 1,500 years ago in the lower Pecos Canyonlands of southwest Texas, a hunter-gatherer had what must have been one heck of a meal. Archaeologists later found a piece of fossilized poop, a coprolite, that contained the complete remains of a rattlesnake. Bones, scales, even a fang. This person had eaten the whole thing, apparently raw. Let that sink in. Swallowing a venomous snake, fangs and all. The analysis showed this wasn't someone starving to death. They had also eaten agave, prickly pear cactus, and a rodent. It wasn't famine food. It could have been a bold choice for a ritual, a challenge, or just because it was there and nutritious. Whatever the reason, it shows how far humans were willing to go. But our relationship with snakes goes way back even further. Evolutionary biologists say snakes have been predators on primates, including our early ancestors, for millions of years. They've competed with us for the same small prey, and yes, they've ended up as prey too. This back and forth shaped us. Look at modern hunter-gatherers like the Acta people in the Philippines. More than a quarter of the men have been attacked by giant pythons. Humans and snakes have literally been eating each other for a very long time. That constant pressure probably explains why we have such a strong, instinctive fear of snakes. Psychologists have found we spot them faster than almost any other threat. Even babies as young as 6 months old lock onto snake-like shapes. It's not just learned. It's hardwired, because back then a snake bite usually meant you were done. But that same fear made overcoming it, and turning the tables by eating the snake, feel incredibly powerful. It was a way of saying, I'm in charge here. When you step back and look at ancient human diets, it all starts to make sense. Early hominins began expanding what they ate millions of years ago. They moved from mostly plants, like our ape relatives, to adding more meat, insects, and anything else they could get. By the time Homo sapiens came around, we were the ultimate opportunists. In Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, people ate whatever was around. Sometimes termites loaded with fat. Sometimes mammoth or fish. And yes, often reptiles. In many traditional cultures today, snake meat is still prized. It's considered warming or even medicinal in parts of Asia, Africa, and among some indigenous groups. Psychologically, eating something dangerous can feel empowering. It turns fear into fuel, literally. In survival situations, that kind of mindset could keep you going when others gave up. Back in those Natufian caves, life was no joke. Settling down brought new problems. More people meant more mouths to feed, and resources could run tight. Relying only on big game wasn't going to cut it. So they got creative. Snakes gave them a steady, modest supply. Lizards too. The bones show they were probably roasting them whole, or tossing them into simple stews. The meat is mild, kind of like chicken or fish depending on the type. Easy to prepare and easy on the stomach. Sure, there were risks. Getting bitten while catching them. Eating them wrong and getting sick. But the benefits won out often enough that it became normal. This kind of adaptability is exactly what let humans spread to every corner of the planet. From freezing tundras to burning deserts, we figured it out. Eating snakes was just one small but powerful example of that smarts. Here's where it gets really interesting. What does all this mean for us now? In our world of packaged food and apps that deliver dinner in minutes, it's easy to forget how raw and real life was for our ancestors. They didn't have fancy diets or labels. They learned through trial and error, watching nature, and sharing stories around the fire. Their willingness to eat snakes shows a kind of practicality we could all use a dose of. When times get tough, you open your mind. You don't skip good protein just because it has scales and might bite you. There's also something deeper in human psychology here. Throughout history, people have eaten challenging or taboo foods as rites of passage, status symbols, or even spiritual experiences. That Texas rattlesnake meal might have been one of those moments. Or it could have just been hunger meeting opportunity. Either way, it reminds us that humans aren't fragile. We're survivors who've faced down some of nature's toughest creatures and turned them into strength. Archaeologists are still finding more pieces of this puzzle. Other sites hint at reptile eating, but the Israel discovery stands out because it's so clear. And as they keep digging in caves and shelters around the world, who knows what else will turn up? Maybe evidence that pushes this behavior back even tens of thousands of years. Think about the actual experience. The crackle of the fire. The earthy smell inside the cave. That satisfying feeling of a full belly after a successful catch. These weren't just meals. They were moments of community, teaching, and building resilience. Parents showing kids which snakes to watch out for, how to pin them safely, and the right way to cook the meat. Knowledge passed down through doing, not reading. In a lot of ways, this connects straight to the modern interest in foraging and wild foods. People today chase unusual proteins for fun or health. Our ancestors did it because they had to, and they made it work. It challenges this idea that early humans only chased big, impressive animals. The truth is more practical, messy, and honestly more impressive. They ate what kept them alive. As we wrap this up, the biggest surprise is this: those 15,000-year-old Natufians weren't some weird exception. They were part of a smart human strategy used across time and places. In the Texas desert centuries later, someone else made that same bold move. Across continents and thousands of years, humans and snakes have been in this dance of fear, respect, competition, and yes, eating each other. It shaped how we evolved, our cultures, and even our instincts. So the next time you spot a snake, whether at the zoo or on a trail, remember this. That gut reaction you feel isn't random. It's the echo of ancestors who learned to respect snakes, fear them, and sometimes turn them into food. It shows how incredibly adaptable we are. In a world full of its own challenges, there's real wisdom in that ancient approach. What if getting a little uncomfortable and trying the unknown could unlock new strength in us today? Our forebears didn't wait for perfect conditions. They worked with what was in front of them, snakes included. They survived, got creative, and built the world we live in. The story of when ancient humans ate snakes isn't just ancient history. It's about that unbreakable human spirit that refuses to be beaten by fear or hard times. It's a reminder that sometimes the things that scare us most can become the key to our greatest resilience.